Tiago Menards raced to an Indy Racing League record 4th consecutive victory last week in Nashville by holding off late race challenger Paul Dana on consecutive restarts. Today, the MIlwaukee Mile hosts the Menards Infiniti Pro Series for the first time. Will the tough, flat 1-mile oval level the playing field, or will Tiago keep on rolling? We'll find out next. Inches apart. When both spin, there's contact.
Taylor wins it. Whoa!
Here they come to the outside of Chandler. And there's no doubt Brazilian Tiago Menards has the magic touch. Last week he set an Indy Racing League record with his 4th consecutive win, and today he adds another page to the record book with his 5th consecutive pole. We welcome you to the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds, where the historic MIlwaukee Mile plays host to the first ever visit by the Indy Racing League's Menards Infiniti Pro Series in today's running of the MIlwaukee 100. Hello, we're along with IndyCar veteran and former Milwaukee pole sitter Robbie Buell. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. And Robbie, since this track first opened way back in 1903, the drivers who have competed here have been equally divided into two camps. Those that love this place and those that hated it. Where do you stand?
No, you're right. I fell into the category as I love this racetrack. This is a driver's track. This place is wide and flat. For these guys, most of the tracks that they race at, there's banking. And this track being flat, it really places a lot more emphasis on the driver and that car handling. Remember, when you have banking on a racetrack, it mechanically helps the car around the racetrack. They're not going to have that today.
The learning curve will certainly be very steep here today. And the field is rolling here at Milwaukee. We'll take a look at our starting grid. We mentioned Menards' 5th consecutive pole will lead him down. Best qualifying effort of his young career, Jesse Mason, the Canadian, outside of row 1. Back in row 2, Paul Dana coming off consecutive runner-up finishes. And beside him, Bakersfield, California ace Brad Pollard. Back in row 3, former IndyCar mechanic, now full-time Menards Infiniti Pro Series driver Billy Rowe, the Team ISI machine, and Arie Luyendyk Jr. Back in row 4, Al Unser, the 21-year-old grandson of Al Unser Sr., and Leonardo Maya, the Skip Barber Racing champion of a year ago. And inside row 5, P.J. Chesson, the 25-year-old World of Outlaws ace. Now, the third member of our broadcast team is Cameron Steele, and moments ago he called up with a talented young Canadian, Jesse Mason.
Well, Jesse, you're a rookie, and you are on the front row for your very first time. You're leading the rookie points as well, a series within a series, but right next to you, Tiago Menards, who's been so dominant. Are we taking it to him today?
Yeah, we're gonna work on getting out front real early and take it to him off the start. Definitely give him a hard time. Hopefully get him to use up his tires a little bit. If we get caught behind, then just ride it out. I think we'll force him into a mistake or get him to use those tires, and we'll be there at the end, definitely.
I like that. A rookie going against a guy that's an established winner. He's ready to fight it out with him. You guys, this should be a sweet race.
And there's the Provimi Veal-sponsored car, Arie Luyendyk Jr. His dad, Arie Sr., got his first win in this country driving for Provimi Veal on this very racetrack in a Super V car back in 1984. Could we see son following in his dad's footsteps? Paul Blevins waves the green flag. We are underway the first time. The Menards, whoa, trouble in turn 1. Contact, 3 cars sliding around, and all 3 come into contact with the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, we have Billy Rowe that's in the wall there, and unfortunately, Arie Luyendyk Jr., just as you were talking about him.
Arie Luyendyk hoping to be able to follow in his famous father's footsteps and get his first win here at Milwaukee. The 33 car Leonardo Maya had an incident in practice earlier in the week, and they had to reassemble that car. Maya, a former winner here in Toyota Atlantic Series, I believe, or former in Skip Barber.
In Skip Barber, yeah, he's a Skip Barber championship. So he's, Leonardo, he knows how to win races. It's unfortunate he's just kind of had a string of bad luck.
Lap number 1, let's see what happened entering turn 1.
Well, it looks like Billy Rowe's car just kind of goes up the track. We got to look at that again. Sure enough, and that's
Billy Rowe comes up across and just tags the back of Luyendyk.
Exactly.
Right on board with Arie Luyendyk on the Provimi onboard camera here.
Yeah, there's a perfect example. Ari was just a passenger on that deal. And what happens, Billy Rowe, as we saw in the red and white car, his car just went up the racetrack. His right front got into the back of Ari's left rear and took them both up into the wall.
You know, the car just did not want to turn entering turn one. Billy Rowe goes in, and it looks like he's turning the wheel, and the car just abruptly goes right.
Yeah, and he actually went to a little bit of brake, I think, because we saw a little bit of tire smoke, so he's trying to slow that down.
Well, unfortunately, Ari Leyendijk's luck has not changed. What does this young man have to do to get a break here? He's got great talent, but can't get any luck here in the Menards Series. The Menards Infiniti Pro Series Milwaukee 100 is being brought to you by Firestone. For more information on Firestone tires, visit your local Firestone retailer. Well, things happen in a hurry here at Milwaukee. Lap 1, turn 1. Watch this incident, left side of your screen.
There you go, and that's Billy Rowe, who's just getting into the back of Ari Leyendijk. Unfortunately, Leonardo Maya is just doing a spin to avoid them, and he just taps the left front of his car. So hopefully there's not too much damage there.
As we are set to go back to green flag racing here, they come charging out of turn 4. Tiago Medeiros showing the way. Jesse Mason in second, and a battle for third, side by side.
And what you see there is Tiago timed that restart really well. Look at him go. And there we have Brad Pollard around the outside of Jesse Mason. So Jesse did not time that start the way he would have liked.
Brad Pollard has a couple of fifth-place finishes, trying to improve on that today as he goes to the inside of the 91 car of Paul Dana. Pollard on a move here. Now, Pollard, by the way, is a teammate for Tiago Medeiros for Sam Smith Racing.
Yeah, and Brad's confidence just has been growing with every race that's happened here. And look at Paul Dana's looking back up the inside. There it is. And now look at that black pavement down low, that tarmac. There's a little bit more grip in that pavement versus the lighter colored pavement on the high side.
Great side-by-side action. Paul Dana and the ethanol machine, the Himmelgarn-Johnson effort. He takes second spot back away from Pollard. And here's a 33 car getting back in the action. It's Leonardo Maya, who had gone to the infield care center to be checked out, which the Indy Racing League requires. Ran through the infield, jumped back in his car that's been repaired by the team there.
Yeah, and that was great to see because, you know, it looked like he just tapped his car in that incident. So I'm glad to see those guys got that car back on the track for Leonardo.
So give a call to Brian Stewart and his team getting Maya back on the racetrack.
Yeah, and now we see Paul Dana and Brad Pollard running in second and third. And there's Brad on our screen with the black and green Xbox car. Those guys need to settle down, not race each other, and think about catching Tiago. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but that's what they need to be thinking about.
Now watch the red car here. Jesse Mason, there he is, the right side of your screen. Mason is qualified on the outside of the front row. He says, you know, my experience is on road courses, but this track reminds me most of a road course because you have to stop and pivot the car. That's why I did so well in qualifying.
Yeah, and you know, in his thought process going into this race is when I talked to him, he said, hey, this is 100 laps, and I don't want to use up my tires too much at the beginning of this race. So, you know, he has a good plan in terms of pacing himself, but again, these guys want to keep Tiago Medeiros in check, and I'm not sure they can. And right now on that restart, obviously Jesse lost a couple spots to both Paul Dana and Brad Pollard. They're both there in front of him. But this is a 100-lap race.
We talk about Jesse Mason driving for one of the legends in open wheel, Brian Stewart Racing. And Brian Stewart, known for many years with his prowess in Indy Lights racing, had some pretty good names drive for him over the years. Take a look, Cristiano D'Amata, Brian Herta. We know he's gone on to do extremely well in open wheel racing. Jacques Lazier and Paul Tracy, to name a few. Tremendous record in Indy Lights competition, and now fielding two cars here full-time in the Menards Infiniti Pro Series.
Yeah, and I'm one of those guys that spent a lot of time racing against some of those guys that were driving for Brian Stewart, one of them being Paul Tracy the first year that I spent in Indy Lights. And there we see Jesse Mason. Like I said, keep in mind, this is a 100-lap race. These guys have no pit stops out here. And there, like I say, Jesse Mason, he said, hey, I want to make sure when there's 25 laps left in this race, I got some tires underneath me. And what that means is they want to have grip in their tires. They want to have a well-balanced race car that they can challenge the cars in front of them.
Well, let's take a closer look at this promising young Canadian.
Hi, I'm Jesse Mason, driver of car number 3 for Brian Stewart Racing. From Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Started racing at the age of 8 in go-karts. Since then, raced Formula V, Formula Ford, and Formula 3 in Britain. studying motorsport engineering in Swansea Institute in Wales in the UK, and I'll graduate in June 2005 with my bachelor's degree of engineering. Racing in the Infiniti Pro Series. I hope to find good success on this. We have a third and a fourth in Miami and Phoenix, which is great. Hopefully continue on that path and do well in the championship and see where my career takes me, whether that be Indy cars or my ultimate goal, Formula One.
And that 20-year-old Niagara Falls, Ontario driver returns to college, by the way, at the end of next month, where he will finish his last year studying motorsports engineering at the University of Wales, hoping to allow an engineering degree to make him become a better driver and maybe propel him into the IRL IndyCar series, and then, as you said, hopefully someday to Formula One. Well, he drives for a legendary owner, and Cameron Steele is standing with it. Cameron?
Well, Brian Stewart, you've had a long list of great drivers, the guys we're talking about just a little bit earlier, and Jesse Mason seems to be a great talent as well. We were talking earlier. Do you see him as another great driver coming up through your program?
Yeah, you know, I ran Paul Tracy. He's in the pole position at Vancouver. D'Amata, I ran in the IRL, Brian Herta, Jacques Lazier, Philippe Giafoni, and I just see Jesse as another good driver coming up the road.
He's definitely been showing his stripes, 2 top 3 finishes. And guys, I just want to update you real quick. You see Leo Maya here in the background. What they did is they sent him back out just to field the car again and get a little bit more up on the other guys, so he has more points than the other drivers that went out at the same time. He's back in and done for the day.
Thank you very much, Cameron. Brian Stewart there, legendary owner, has the Leonardo Maya and this car, the Segway transportation machine for Jesse Mason, as Mason now closing in on the car in front of him.
Yeah, and that's Brad Pollard. Those guys have kind of been in sight of each other all race, but right now Jesse's a couple of car lengths from the backside of Brad. So it'll be interesting to see. And like I say, Jesse knows he's just going to kind of bide his time. He won't do anything stupid right now. There's still a lot of laps left. There's over 50 laps. We're not even to the halfway point yet. So he's just going to keep sizing up Brad Pollard and see where his strengths and weaknesses are.
These two guys are chasing this guy, the Dreyer and Reinbold Infiniti efforts of Tiago Medeiros, who is on a roll. 4 consecutive victories, an Indy Racing League record. Can he make it 5 here today? He has led since the wave of the green flag. Back with more from the mile at Milwaukee in just a moment. Back at the Milwaukee Mile, along with our expert analyst, Robbie Beal, Cameron Steele in the pits. I'm Jerry Punch. Welcome back to the IRL Menards Infiniti Pro Series debut here at this historic 1-mile racetrack at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Well, it has been all Tiago Medeiros since the drop of the green flag, but great racing back in the pack for 5th spot. The red car, the Pioneer machine, P.J. Chesson trying to reel in Unser, but right behind him is the leader.
Yeah, this is going to be real interesting. Tiago's got to remember that the guys in front of him, P.J. and Al, they're racing for position. So Tiago has to be patient in terms of the way he picks his way through there. We know Tiago's got enough of a gap between him and the 1st and 2nd place car that he can do that. But also we see PJ, he's really using the high part of the track. He's letting the car free up, and he gets a good run on Al as they close into the corners.
P.J. Chesson, only his 2nd start in a Menards Infiniti Pro Series car. His background a little bit different than a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, it is. You know, most of his experience comes from running sprint cars. He has very little time in a rear-engine race car on pavement, and in this type of race car, you have to get the race car to work for you and get it to handle for you. You can't manhandle it, and that's a totally different learning curve.
A car owned by Mo Nunn, veteran IRL owner, and his wife Catherine. The Pioneer sponsorship on the side of that machine, chasing Al Unser, the 21-year-old oldest child of Al Unser Jr. and Shelley Unser. Al Unser making only his 3rd start here in the Menards Infiniti Pro Series after finishing 3rd at Kansas City and 5th at Nashville. There's a look at P.J. Chesson, 25-year-old from Far Hills, New Jersey.
And I think what's really great to see here is Tiago isn't doing anything stupid. He's not trying to force his way by these guys and say, hey, I got to get by you. I'm the leader of this race. He's just going to wait for his time. And I think that's a sign of maturity. He knows he's got a cushion from where he is to the 2nd place car, and he knows these two guys are racing.
Tiago Medeiros, if you just joined our coverage, set an IRL record, not just a Menards Infiniti Pro Series record, but an Indy Racing League record with his 4th consecutive win last week at Nashville, Tennessee. He broke the record. He was tied with Billy Boat for consecutive poles in Indy Racing League competition with 4. He picked up his 5th consecutive pole here this weekend at the MIlwaukee Mile. The young man from Brazil on a roll, wants to win a championship, and word is, I know, Robbie, you're a co-owner in the Indy Racing League. You know, and Dennis Reinbold, a lot of owners are wanting to give this guy possibly a shot to test in an IndyCar.
Yeah, and from talking with Tiago earlier today, he's hoping that he's maybe going to get his shot to test an IndyCar in Chicago in a couple weeks. So let's hope that all works out well for him.
Well, early on in lap 1, side-by-side racing action. P.J. Chesson gets to the high side and just can't quite hang on, but he's awfully good off turn 2 normally.
Yeah, he is. Now let's watch it. See, this is as close as he's been to Al as they've come off of turn 2. He should get a little bit ahead of him as they go into 3 here. But when you're on the high side of the racetrack, it's the longer way around.
And if you're Tiago Medeiros, you're wondering what's going to happen. Who do I follow? And obviously, PJ very good using all the racetrack off the turn.
Yeah, that was a great press. Obviously, PJ's car is working well on the high side. Al, he's got to keep his car down. And look at PJ go. And you know, I think he's comfortable with running the high side of the racetrack. Probably comes back to what some of his experience is.
Now, if you're Tiago Medeiros, you have to be very careful picking your way by Al Unser, understanding that, whoa, and a little bit of a wiggle there on Medeiros' car.
Yeah, and, you know, we talked about it briefly earlier. You see the black pavement that is down through the corners. There's a lot more grip on that black pavement. There you see it on the middle of your screen there, and it's only through the corners. There's more grip on that pavement, so when they go from that black pavement to the lighter color pavement, it changes how the car handles. It changes that grip level.
Well, Tiago Medeiros' teammate Arie Luyendyk Jr. was involved in an incident on lap 1, and our Cameron Steele standing down near the hospital catching up with him. Cameron?
Well, just out of the hospital, Arie, you're looking just fine here, but a heartbreaking situation. Your dad won here his first time with same sponsor, Pravimi Veal. It's got to be tough for you. What happened out there?
I just entered the first corner, and then, you know, I was on the high side starting 6th, and I just held my line, and then Billy Rowe picked up an understeer and pushed up into me. So, you know, nothing I could do. I just kind of collected in that. It's just the way our luck's been going this year, I guess. So hopefully it'll turn around in Michigan, where we've won pole the last 2 years and done well there. So, you know, it's a shame for Pravimi Veal. You know, they had a great sponsorship backing for us, and you know, hopefully we can hopefully they'll stay on board for another couple races and we can show them a better result.
Well, I was talking to your dad earlier, and he told me that you guys will be around through the end of this championship, so that's great news.
Yeah, that's great news. You know, it's just unfortunate that we've had string 3 races now of bad luck where we haven't finished a race. So once we turn that around, we'll be in the hunt. But for now, things are kind of unlucky.
Well, you got to stop letting black cats run in front of you when you're getting on your way to the racetrack. That's it from here down by the hospital.
Whoa, on pit road as Tiago Medeiros, the leader, comes roaring into the pits and pointing toward the right front, thinking he may have a tire going and loops it around, and Chris Griffiths, the crew chief, just jumps out of the way. Our leader having trouble here on lap number 76. As you just heard a moment ago, the interview with Arie Luyendyk, his teammate, who had trouble on lap 1, and Medeiros, who had been almost unbeatable this year, now has trouble here after dominating the first 75 laps.
Yep. So our new leader is Paul Dana, and here we have him. And that's too bad for Tiago. We saw him slowing down prior to that, and sure enough, it looked like he had a right front that went flat.
And if you're Paul Dana, what's going through your mind right now? The young man has been here 2 years, has never won in Menards Infiniti Pro Series competition, driving for Ron Himmelgarn and Roger Johnson in the ethanol machine. But he is the leader, and we are 23 laps away from the checkered flag in your first ever visit to an Indy Racing League victory lane.
Yeah, and you know, he's got 4 seconds on the second place car of Pollard right now. So what Paul needs to do is just focus on racing his car lap after lap. And you know, when you have a 4-second lead and he's in a new position of leading his first race, or potentially winning his first race right now, is sometimes your mind wanders and you hear things happening in the race car and you second guess yourself. You just got to talk your way through every corner of the racetrack and be consistent and hit all your points.
Something you haven't seen at all this year, Tiago Medeiros climbing out of a car before the race is over. We've seen him climb out in victory lane 4 consecutive races. But here, after dominating the first 74 laps, he has climbed out of the car as the car abruptly wiggled a couple times. And then while we were talking to Arie Luyendyk a moment ago, Medeiros comes down pit road pointing to that right front tire. Let's check in down there where I think Cameron Steele is caught up with Tiago Medeiros.
Well, Tiago, I was speaking with Tim Neff as you came in. He said it's an upright problem. What happened?
I mean, I don't know. It's very disappointing. I just feel that the nut was, I feel that the feeling that I had was the nut was coming off and the right wheel was shaking. And I feel that when I was behind some guys in the back of the field, I tried to make a pit stop, but it didn't work. I mean, we just stuck in here. So looking forward to Michigan next week.
Always the true champion in his comments. Tiago Medeiros out of this race.
Paul Dana, the leader here in Milwaukee, and now we are under yellow here with Milwaukee with just a couple of laps to go. We'll show you what happened here just a moment ago. The incident between the second and third place cars. There is a Pollard spinning in the Xbox machine out of turn 4.
Yeah, and he just did that all on his own. I mean, you know, the rear of the car just stepped out, and I'm not sure. It looks like Jesse Mason just had to do a little avoidance and got a little high coming off there, and that's just all it was. And it's just that little wiggle, and unfortunately, Jesse Mason's out of the race as well.
So the second and third place cars have had contact. There's the Xbox machine. What a great run Brad Pollard was having on his way to his career best finish of second. The car just skips out and tags the barrels at the end of pit wall. Mason also involved, and now this guy, 29-year-old St. Louis native Paul Dana, will bring the ethanol machine around the Himmelgarn Johnson Motorsports effort and pick up his very first win in Menards Infiniti Pro Series competition. The checkered flag waves for Paul Dana. Finishing in second spot is P.J. Chesson, his career best finish in only his third start. And Dana waves at his crowd. He's been waiting for this moment for 2 years. Dana is a winner in Indy Racing League competition. Take a look at our unofficial results. It's Dana, Chesson, Al Unser, Jesse Mason, Pollard, Medeiros, who led most of this race, Leonardo Maya, Arie Luyendyk Jr., and Billy Rowe. That's the top 9. When we come back, we'll visit with the first-time winner here at Milwaukee. The Menards Infiniti Pro Series Milwaukee 100 has been brought to you by Firestone. For more information on Firestone tires, visit your local Firestone retailer. And now we head down to the Firestone winner's circle, and Cameron Steele is standing by with a guy who's going to be very excited. Cameron?
You can definitely see the excitement being congratulated by his team owner, Ron Himmelgarn. And Paul, you were the runner-up, the bridesmaid the last couple times. You were upset with yourself because of the restarts at the last race. Today, it's your day.
Yeah, you know, we've been real close all year. The Himmelgarn Johnson team's been giving me an awesome car, and you know, we led earlier this year, and we ran into problems, and Tiago had a good result, and what comes around goes around today. I don't know what happened to him, but, you know, we were in second, ready to take advantage, so we'll take it any way we can get it.
That's right, and a sweet victory no matter what happens. You know, Tiago goes out of the race. What were you thinking as those last couple laps were clicking off?
You know, it was so slick out there. The car was, you're just trying to survive. Honestly, it's just keep it under you, trying everything you can do. And I mean, I almost crashed it like 50 times. I think everybody else had problems too, so it was really slick. Just be patient, be smooth, and let it come to you.
50 times almost crashing, Doc. There you have it from Paul Dana.
All the excitement continues for Cameron Steele and our expert analyst, Robbie Buell. I'm Jerry Punch, once again congratulating Paul Dana on his landmark first win today here in Milwaukee. Join us next August 2nd, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the high-banked, high-speed action from Michigan International Speedway. Up next here on ESPN2, the Mother's Car Show. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Once again, congratulations to Paul Dana. He's a winner today in Milwaukee.